of proclamations. We have two proclamations to be presented tonight. The first one will be presented by Councilor Jesse Letterman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, members and members of the public. Thank you for being with us tonight. We are presenting a proclamation in honor of Mrs. Aria Coburn. Mrs. Coburn is the principal of the Springfield Renaissance School, and she's here tonight with her family. So I'd invite all of you up to the podium if you'd like to join us. And Mrs. Coburn is being honored tonight as the recipient of the Region 1 Principal of the Year Award by the Magnet Schools of America. And so I will read the proclamation into the record so folks can learn all about your great achievement and your service to the city of Springfield, and then we'll give you an opportunity to introduce your family and say a few words. In the city of Springfield, May 21st, 2018. Whereas Mrs. Aria Coburn is the principal of the Springfield Renaissance School, a public 6 through 12 expeditionary learning magnet school in the city of Springfield. And whereas Mrs. Coburn was born and raised in Springfield, Massachusetts, and is herself a graduate of the Springfield Public Schools, having attended the Springfield High School of Science and Technology, and having gone on to graduate from Northeastern University and American International College. And whereas Mrs. Coburn began her career in public education as a special education teacher before being appointed the vice principal of John J. Duggan Academy, and 3 years ago returning to the Springfield Renaissance School as only the second principal in the history of the school. And whereas under the leadership of Mrs. Coburn, the Springfield Renaissance School has continued to make history in Springfield as 100% of Renaissance seniors continue to be accepted to college, and the school serves as a model for expeditionary learning schools across the country, hosting site seminars where other educators come to learn from their practices. And whereas, as a result of her hard work, dedication, and educational acumen, Aria Coburn has been named the Region 1 Principal of the Year by Magnet Schools of America, an award that recognizes outstanding school leaders who have succeeded in providing innovative programs that promote equity, diversity, and academic excellence for students in magnet schools. And whereas, to win that award, Mrs. Coburn topped the list of principals from schools throughout the Northeast and is only the second principal in Springfield to be honored with this award. And whereas Mrs. Coburn was honored at a national gathering of Magnet Schools of America in Chicago, Illinois, garnering national attention for her work here in Springfield and serving as a model educator for educators across the United States, now therefore be it proclaimed that the Springfield City Council honors and congratulates Mrs. Aria Coburn on her receipt of the Magnet Schools of America Region 1 Principal of the Year Award, thanks her for her service to our community educating our youth, and wishes her the best of luck in all her future endeavors. A proclamation sponsored on May 21st in honor of Mrs. Aria Coburn by City Councilor Jesse Letterman and all councilors, and signed and attested by our City Clerk, Attorney Anthony Wilson. Congratulations.
Would you like to say a few words and introduce your family?
Absolutely. Aria Coburn, the proud principal of the Springfield Renaissance School. I have with me my mom, who is also a graduate of Springfield Public Schools, Commerce. I have with me my son, Avery Coburn, my daughter, Zoe Coburn, my husband, Leslie Coburn, who is also a graduate of Science and Technology. That's where we met. Yeah. I have my sister, also a Springfield graduate of Commerce, and her fiance, Jeremy, who is new to the area, but definitely loving Springfield. He also works for Springfield Public Schools at Chestnut. So we are definitely proud to be in Springfield. And so I just want to thank everyone for this honor. It truly is an honor for me to give back to the city that I grew up in and to be the principal of the Springfield Renaissance School and to continue the legacy that Renaissance has led over the years. So thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Final proclamation is presented by Councilor Tim Ryan.
Good evening, Mr. President. John Delaney. We're joined tonight by retired Sergeant John Delaney. It's very difficult and almost impossible to believe that Sergeant Delaney served the Springfield PD for 38 years. Is that an accurate number?
It's accurate, yeah. I know I don't look it, right?
For many years, he was the face of the department. For many years, he did dangerous and work for us. A truly dedicated police officer. When I saw in the paper that he retired, I was shocked. I thought it'd be appropriate to have him down here. In preparing this, Kelly in the office worked with the police department, and I think what's most shocking is, in addition to Sergeant Delaney, who's retired with 38 years, there's 15 officers who retired from January 1 through March 30. So in 90 days, 15 people retired. There's 12 of those 15 had 30 plus years. So we lost 360 plus years of dedication and experience and expertise in just 90 days, which John is just one example of. And I know, having worked previously and then at the police commission, the many, many hours that he put in. And I felt it's appropriate to have John down here, but also to use this to express our as a collective appreciation for the hard work and the dedication that you and these other retirees devoted to the city over the 30 plus years that so many of you spent with us. Thank you, John.
Thank you. I wore the badge proudly. I've lived in Springfield my whole life. My grandparents lived in Springfield their whole life. I'm joined by my wife, Gabriella, my son, Jack, and my daughter, Bridget, who works for the Business Improvement District now. So public service runs in our blood. My grandfather died fighting a fire. He was a captain in the Springfield Fire Department. He died fighting a fire before I was born. So the Delaney name rings true through the city of Springfield. Again, I wore the badge proudly. I served the citizens well. I didn't quit. I'm still working at MGM right now, security. So come on over and see me, Henry. I'll be over there protecting the people that come into the casino. So it was a good ride. I did a lot of good work. I'm very proud of what I did, and I'm even more proud of my family that sits in the back row. Thank you, Timmy. Thank you so much.
Take a brief 1-minute recess before our regular meeting. Council and the guests, please take their seats. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilor Williams.
Present.
Present. Councilor Twiggs. Present. Councilor Shea. Absent. Councilor Gomez. Absent. Councilor Walsh. Here. Councilor Fenton.
Here.
Here. Councilor Letterman.
Present.
Present. Councilor Edwards. Present. Councilor Ash. Absent. Councilor Hurst. Present. Councilor Ryan. Here. Councilor Allen. Present. Councilor Ramos.
Present. If everyone could please rise and join me in a moment of silence. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, if the clerk could please recognize the councilor in seat number 4.
Councilor Gomez.
Present.
Just a quick reminder to turn on your microphones when you're speaking, turn them off when you're not speaking, and all cell phones on silent mode, please. Item number 1, Mr. Clerk.
Item number 1 is the valet parking order.
Councilor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was going to ask the Bill Objection to move the second agenda item to the first, being that we have our clerk of courts here, Loretta Tile, and just in the interest of her schedule. If there's no objection, I will ask that.
All right, if there's no objection, we'll take item number 2, Mr. Clerk. Councilor Twiggs.
Item number 2, a special permit for the reopening of a pre-existing non-conforming use at the property known as 491 Allen Street.
This is a special permit hearing of the Springfield City Council. The petitioner will be given 20 minutes to present. We will then give the opposition 20 minutes to address the council, and then there will be a 5-minute rebuttal period. I will then leave the hearing open for final questions of the petitioner and/or the opposition, and then I will close the hearing and allow for motions, amendments, etc. Please state your name and address for the record.
31 Station Street in Forest Park area. I would like to start by addressing my petition. I have over 100 butters and petitioners. I would like to give that to y'all. Well, I'm here tonight hoping to earn your support to reopen the pre-existing non-conforming use of a motor vehicle repair shop located at 491 Allen Street. I'm very nervous speaking in front of a group this evening, so I hope y'all bear with me. Thank you. Well, I would like to start off by thanking Beth Hogan and the East Forest Park Association for helping me, guiding me through this process. I would also like to thank Councilor Tim Allen for his help. I am happy to announce that the East Forest Park Civic Association in support of this special permit tonight. Let me be clear, I will be a good neighbor. I am a hard worker and have operated for many years at 279 Mill Street. Many of my customers live in East Forest Park, and I'm happy to announce that all my abutters and nearly 100 people who live in the East Forest Park have signed my petition in support of this special permit request. And for the record, all my repair work will be done inside the building. There will be no unregistered or junk vehicles at my establishment. There will be no sales of vehicles, and there will be no auto body repair work. And I agree with all the additional conditions recommended by the city. The only modification I am requesting that you consider is to open my business from 7 a.m. to at least 9 p.m. And if anyone has any questions, this is the time. I will be happy to answer them anytime.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in favor? Please step forward, state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the council, Mr. Clerk. My name is Laura Gentile. I have been a resident of East Forest Park for, I won't tell you my age, but for my entire life. I know Hector. I know the kind of person he is. I know he will be a good neighbor. Obviously, I have a vested interest in having good neighbors, and I'm very, very confident that he will live up to all my expectations. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Laura. If there's anyone else who would like to speak in favor, please step forward, state your name and address for the record.
Elizabeth Hogan, 29 Ridgecrest Street, East Forest Park, Springfield. Good evening, everyone. The East Forest Park Civic Association is in favor. We met as a board in a general public meeting on May 9th, and we do support Hector. We have reviewed the guidelines from the Planning and Economic of Springfield, and we agreed to all the terms. The only question that we have at this time is the hours of the business. The recommendation by the city was 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. We feel that it is beneficial that he is consistent with the entire hours of all the garages in East Forest Park. So some of them open at 7 a.m. and 7:30. So the Civic Association is in favor of that. However, the request of later hours, we would like to stay consistent with the other garages as 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, and no weekends. There are no garages open in East Forest Park at this time except for service or inspection. So that's the only thing that we propose at this time compared to the 8 p.m. close at this time. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else who would like to speak in favor, please step forward. Say again, if there's anyone else who would like to speak in favor, please step forward. Seeing none. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition? Please step forward. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition? Please step forward. Seeing none, are there any questions for the petitioner? Councilor Gomez.
Yes, I just have one question. So you want to be able to operate till 9 p.m. Why?
Because a lot of my customers, they get off of work after 5, and some of them can't leave their vehicles overnight, and they expect me to do it at that time. So it's called quick fix. So I get them in, get them out.
So we can stay in what the Civic Association would like, because I did hear Ms. Beth Hogan had stated that they didn't want you to be open on the weekends.
No weekends, she said, which I would like Saturday and Sunday off. I could be with my family and go to church. But if that's what they want, I don't have a problem with that.
No, hold on. Can I ask the Civic Association a question? Ms. Hogan, please. Hello, how are you?
Great, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for coming. Thank you for supporting this gentleman and his business.
Absolutely.
I had a question to kind of alleviate that pressure that you guys don't want him open late till 6 after 9 p.m. I don't see anything here stipulating that they're not letting him not open on the weekend. But are you guys okay with him being able to do work on Saturdays to kind of mitigate that, or?
At this time, we'd like to stay consistent with the other garages. We have been notified by neighbors that potentially sometimes Hector has been there on Saturdays recently. Okay. So we're just finding that we would like to start with this permit and maybe in the future come back. But we are concerned that none of the other garages are doing this at this time, so we want to be consistent. If we open it up to Hector, we now will have to potentially open it to all the other garages as well. The only garage that has Saturdays 8 to 12 for inspection. There's no mechanical work in any of the garages in East Forest Park.
I understand. I completely understand.
And then for the hours 6 p.m., you talk about use of land of use technology, the lighting. I believe there will be 30 parking spots, and that building, there's the Valero garage station, gas station, that's a convenience store in the center, and then the 30 spaces are to the left and the right. There's a home right to the left, just recently built by Habitat for Humanity. So that
Understand.
quality of life issue, would be a concern.
Okay, I understand. Thank you, Ms. Hopi.
Yeah, thank you.
Realistically, I understand there's a certain way of how East Springfield would like to operate, but I believe that as a business, opening on a Saturday, that's something that some people do, especially if we get off of work at 5, if they were to drop off their car and he was to get to it in the morning. I don't see a reason why not, or why we would hinder somebody not to be open on the weekend. I can understand a Sunday. Essentially, I'm a man of faith. I go to church, and I would think that having that peace and that quality of life is important. But as a businessman, I would think that, being open maybe for some brief moment, some time, just because the rest of the places aren't open as long or on the weekends, I don't think we should stop a person from doing that. But that's just my opinion. But I totally respect your guys' opinion also.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Councilor Letterman.
I have a question for Phil. Is Phil here? To Councilor Gomez's point, the garages in East Forest Park, I don't know if we have this information offhand, but are they not open on the weekends by nature of a condition on their special permit?
No, I think it's a choice, because I know at least Gurney's across the street doesn't have a special permit. They've been there for so long. I'm not aware of all the other ones. I know there's a couple on over by Rockies, but I don't know all the other garages in East Forest Park. But I know there is no special permit for the majority of them, because they've been there for so long.
And so with the permit as it currently exists and is recommended by planning, does it restrict the days?
No, I was not planning on restricting the days, just the hours. So it's certainly up to the council about whether or not you want to restrict no Saturday.
What's been the precedent?
In most cases, it's usually no operation on a Sunday. That tends to be the most days where you don't want these operating. I have not, I don't know if there's a precedence for no Saturdays, but again, certainly under the city council's choice of whether you want to add that as a condition of no Saturdays.
All right, thank you. I know.
Thanks, Mr. President. Thanks, Hector, for bringing this forward and for being willing to open another garage in East Forest Park. That's a good service.
Thank you, Tim.
And I wish you the best. This was an item that was on the April 23rd agenda. You might recall that there was I continued it so that it would come back today and he wouldn't have to reapply to save him some. So it was continued from the April 23rd agenda. I attended the May 9th meeting of the East Forest Park Civic Association. I go to all those meetings, but I don't go really to any of the board meetings. And so the board meeting was held after the Civic Association meeting. And I was a full participant in the Civic Association meeting, but I really stayed away from the board meeting when they voted. In my experience with special permits and stuff, there aren't that many in East Forest Park. There's way more businesses in Allen Cooley area, Outer Belt. This is we've done more of this type of thing there. And generally, we have always said that we can come back and change the hours or something of a special permit if it's warranted or if things are going well and all that sort of thing. I think it's better at the beginning to keep it more on the, I won't say restricted side, but more in line with what's done in the ward. The other ones are Leonard's, Lyndale, Felix's, Gurney's. You've probably seen these names and been by them. Three of them are on major streets, as this would be. Lyndale is down a side street. So I would recommend that we amend the special permit from 8 to 6, hours of 8 to 6, to hours of 7 to 6. And keep an eye on this. We could come back, and if it's going well, we can adjust the hours if it's warranted at a future date. Put in a 6-month review or something like that. But I'm not suggesting any of that in the amendment. The amendment is simply to change the hours from 8 to 6 to 7 to 6. The hours is recommended by Filler, 8 to 6. I'm saying you can open an hour earlier, go from 7 to 6, Monday through Friday.
Yeah, no,
Councilor Hurst. Well, there's a motion on the floor for an amendment made by Councilor Allen, seconded by Councilor Gomez. Councilor Hurst on the motion.
Not necessarily on the motion, but I just wanted to speak to the hours of operation. Not the hours of operation, but the days of operation. I don't think Hector should be held to a different standard than anyone else in East Forest Park. I think if we're going to put restrictions on his permit in terms of the days in which he can operate, it would be unfair to him to put those restrictions on and to not be able to put those restrictions on every other auto body shop that is operating in East Forest Park. I think in good faith, if you so choose not to operate because the East Forest Park Civic Association has highlighted their concern, then I certainly think that's your prerogative, and that's something that's the relationship that you need to build with the East Forest Park Civic Association. But I don't think we should be in the business of certainly restricting the days if no other operation or individual who operates an auto body shop in that area has restrictions on the days in which they operate.
Thank you, Council.
Anyone else on the motion? Councilor Gomez, did you second that motion? Yes. Councilor Ryan. This is for an amendment for the hours of operation. Councilor Letterman.
The motion is to amend condition number 13, which reads, the hours of operation shall be between the hours of 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. to change the hours from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Any further discussion on that motion? All in favor of the amendment, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you, Council.
Are there any final questions for the petitioner? Before I close the public hearing, are there any final questions for the petitioner? Seeing none, I will now close the public hearing. Are there any final motions, amendments? Roll call, Mr. Clerk. As amended.
On approving the amended special permit, Councilor Williams.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Twiggs. Yes. Councilor Shea. Absent. Councilor Gomez.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Fenton. Yes. Councilor Letterman. Yes. Councilor Edwards. Yes. Councilor Ash. Absent. Councilor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Ryan. Yes. Councilor Allen.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Ramos.
Yes, more than sufficient. Special permit is approved. Councilor Williams on the reasons.
President. Reasons for granting a special permit. The specific site is an appropriate location for such a use, structure, or condition. The use as developed will not adversely affect the neighborhood. Adequate and appropriate facilities will be provided for the proper operation of the proposed use, and to incorporate the planning staff analysis into the decision at the basis of the findings.
All in favor of the reasons, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Back to item number 1, Mr. Clerk.
Item number 1 is an order to allow valet parking at One Financial Plaza.
Is there a report from committee?
Yes, Mr. President. In regards to the valet parking order on the agenda today, the Maintenance and Development Subcommittee met this evening with Councilors Allen, Ryan, Letterman, Fenton, Walsh, and myself present, and Twiggs, I'm sorry, and Councilor Twiggs present as well. And the subcommittee voted to approve, take this out of the subcommittee, as well as to approve the conditions that were set for this. Now, we did receive a confidential attorney-client communication from Attorney Moore that spoke to a specific question that one of the councilors asked at the last regular hearing. And the question related to, can a fee be charged to parkers for use of valet parking services by a permit holder utilizing on-street parking spaces within the public way? And the findings for that were that they essentially can. And I know that Attorney Moore, I believe, if he is present, can speak to that at length. But we did, as a subcommittee, again, to reiterate, both approved to take it out of subcommittee as well as to affirmably approve the order itself.
Is Attorney Moore present?
He is not.
Are there any questions or comments from the council? Seeing none. Councilor Letterman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I
Just
just
a
want
roll
to
call.
express in support of this order. We had a lengthy committee meeting on it and had a lot of the questions that had previously existed answered. I just also want to highlight, one of the great points of this proposal is the fact that the service, in addition to being available to One Financial Plaza, will also be available to constituents entering City Hall for a starting fee of just $2 for the first 20 minutes, only going up to $4 for the next 2 hours. And with MGM opening and the increase in traffic we're going to be seeing downtown, we already hear from our constituents that it's difficult for them to find parking to come in and pay a bill or have a meeting. I really think this also serves to alleviate that, and it's something I'll look forward to speaking with my constituents about later on. So I would urge members to approve this.
Councilor Ryan.
I just want to take this opportunity to publicly acknowledge the great work that Evan Plotkin does. He's one of the true apostles of the downtown rebirth in downtown Springfield. There are very few people who have done as much and continue to do as much as Evan does. And the fact that he's putting this forward, to my mind, that really kind of answers the question. But you look what he's done with the building next door. It's first class, well done, and there's no reason to doubt that this proposal won't be similarly run. And so I think it's the fact that he's willing to extend himself yet again. It's a win-win for his tenants, a win-win for the people who are going to use City Hall and for downtown Springfield generally.
Councilor Twiggs.
Mr. President, as I stated earlier, I think this is a win-win for the city of Springfield. I think Mr. Evan Plotkin should be congratulated on bringing this forward. But I think anything that we can assist our residents in getting into City Hall, I think most of them come to pay bills. Not like me, I come to argue about stuff. And so if we can assist our residents in getting into City Hall, and of course the adjacent building, we're doing a good public service, and I think we as a council should consider that foremost above everything else. This is a good public service to the community, and I urge you to support it.
Councilor Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. President. In addition to being a good public service, I think the point that was made during our committee meeting is that, by Evan Plotkin, that this is a way to keep businesses in Springfield. It's a way to retain business, and he has had inquiries from people who are interested in Springfield, and one of the things they always inquire about is the parking. We all know how tight it is, and we all know people don't want to get a ticket when they come down here. So I think this is going to definitely provide a good service and a safe service, and I think it's a great idea, and I think it's going to show some vibrancy. When people come towards City Hall and they see the uniformed valets, it's going to be just positive all around. But I have to agree with Councilor Ryan because I sit on two boards with Evan Plotkin, and he definitely is a Renaissance man, and he is responsible for so much public art that he needs to be thanked for that, and the utility boxes and so many things in Springfield that he has done to make it a much better place to live and work. So I hope we all support him tonight in this endeavor.
Councilor Letterman.
Mr. President, I know we're ready to vote on this, but also Mr. Plotkin is in the audience and has been here most of the evening. If it's appropriate to give him an opportunity to say a few words on the matter.
Mr. Plotkin.
Well, Needless to say, I'm humbled by the kind words that you've all offered me tonight. And I have not spent so much time in these chambers as I have in the last few months trying to get this thing through. But while I've been here, I see the incredible work and challenges that you all have dealing with all the issues that come before you. So I just want to give it back to you, that, some love back to you all, that it's an incredible job that you do. As far as this valet parking, I think that anything that we can do to improve the way that business is conducted downtown and make it more friendly for businesses to come down here, then we really need to look at all opportunities. This has been something that I've been looking at and thinking about for a long time. I don't think there are any other Class A office buildings in this state, that have valet parking. I know that a lot of retailers, restaurants and hospitals and other businesses have valet parking, but office buildings, it's kind of a new thing. And I really like the idea of being customer friendly and really trying to welcome people into our downtown and make them feel like they don't have any barriers to coming down here and transacting business with the businesses there. There's 75 or so businesses, 800 employees who work next door. Those people have their lives are tied to downtown Springfield. They come here every day. If their customers can't get to them, then they have no reason to be here. And so I think that this may be just one step, and I hope that other businesses will follow to kind of look and take advantage of the benefits of making the consumer experience much better for downtown. So thank you for your kind words, your support, and for all that you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Any final questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor of the order say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Order is approved. Item number 3.
Item number 3 is an application for a special permit for an accessory wall sign at 3601 Main Street.
Again, the petitioner will be given 20 minutes to address the council, 20 minutes for the opposition, and a 5-minute rebuttal for each side. State your name and address for record, please.
Rebecca Eldridge, on behalf of Bay State Health, 759 Chestnut Street. On behalf of Bay State Health, we are requesting the use of a special permit for an accessory wall sign at 3601 above the first floor due to visibility and awareness for our visiting patients and staff members for our new joint venture between Bay State Health and the University of Massachusetts Med School, which is now located at the 3rd floor of 3601 Main Street.
Is there anything else you would like to share with the council?
That's all I got.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak in opposition? Please step forward, state your name and address for the record.
I have to recuse myself from this vote as I'm employed by the University of Massachusetts.
Okay. The clerk will make a note. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in favor? Please step forward, state your name and address for the record. Seeing none. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition? Please step forward. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition? Please step forward. Seeing none. Any final questions for the petitioner? Councilor Fenton.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening. I have a couple of questions about this. Has the applicant appeared before the New North Citizens Council about this proposal at all? I see in the analysis that it says that it also requires Springfield Redevelopment Authority approval. Are you on an agenda for their meeting at any point in the near future? You don't have any application before the SRA to? Okay. Mr. President, I have some more comments, but if they haven't met with New North or they don't have an appointment with the SRA.
Just on that case, I was going to just forward this to the SRA with my analysis. This is kind of not a arbitrary decision, but it's kind of a routine decision for the SRA. So there is no formal application to the SRA for approval. It's simply just me talking to Chris Moskal to make sure it's on an agenda.
Yep.
And then I would forward it with my...
Okay, I mean, so I'll get to my concerns. They're really twofold, and one is related to the proposed signs, and then the other is sort of a municipal management issue related. I know this is Councilor Gomez's district. I live not too far away, so I run through this area all the time, and it is in a redevelopment area designated through the plan as cited by the city planner, Phil Dromey. And I was just investigating a little bit further on with some Google tools, and I don't see any other properties that are located in that medical campus area that have multiple signs for tenants on the same structure. And that's really important to me. And I don't know how important it is to the neighborhood, but that's important to me because there's a variety of structures in that area that have quite a few tenants. And I think a part of the reason why that area looks so good and so clean and well maintained is because of the overall character of the sign restrictions that we have down there. So I wasn't able to see any others on Main Street that have dual signage in the way that you're proposing, both for Bay State Health and for UMass. I have seen signage on the Tulaski Center and other places similar to what you're proposing in terms of size and scale, but never one that has two tenants. There's also, I noticed, I'm trying to think of the right term here. Well, we'll call it an additional accessory sign at the corner of Wasson and Main for your structure, which is 3601 Main. Is that the address? And so there's an additional sign directing visitors into the parking lot because I understand it's pushed pretty far back from Main Street, and you got to kind of pull back around the old Comcast building to get there. Those are my concerns that we don't want to set a precedent in this area that's really strategically developed and has been wildly successful by all objective measures regarding additional signs unless it's a thought out and reasoned decision. And then quite honestly, the other issue that I have here is in reading the tax certificate provided by the city collector's office, it occurred to me that UMass may be a tenant of Bay State in this building. Is that the case?
It's a joint venture, Bay State Health UMass Medical School. It's not UMass that's a tenant. It's a Bay State Health program.
Oh, okay. So there's no rent exchanged.
No, it's a Bay State Health program. It's our med schools through the University of Massachusetts.
Shucks. Okay, so the concern regarding the signage remains. I'll defer to Councilor Gomez in terms of whether or not he thinks it's appropriate for the New North Citizens Council to meet on it. But unless I get some further comfort that this type of dual signage is appropriate down there, and we're comfortable with seeing that on some of the other structures. I know we have a lot of we have Fallon Health, we have Planned Parenthood, we have the Tulaski Cancer Research Center, we have a lot of other Bay State and non-Bay State controlled structures in that area that have just single owner signage, and I'm interested to hear what my colleagues think about it.
Councilor Gomez.
I personally don't have too much of an issue, only that you haven't met with the neighborhood board, and the neighborhood board getting a letter of support just so they know exactly what's going on. I know that this building is off on the border of Chicopee, so it's like the last parcel in our municipality. But just so they can be on board just makes it safe on my end to be able to okay this. So I would actually just ask that we, and until they meet the neighborhood board, that we don't hear this until our next hearings meeting, just so we could be on the safe side. Say it again. I just motion to table it. I apologize.
So motion to table the item. The public hearing will remain open until then, the next hearing. Motion made by Councilor Gomez, seconded by Councilor Williams. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor of the tabling the item, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
The last item on tonight's agenda is second and third step to a change to the zoning ordinance to modify a property known as 324 Wilbraham Road from Residence B to Business A.
State your name and address for the record, please.
Gentlemen, ladies, my name is Cornell Forbes from 324 Arcadia Boulevard, and I've lived in Springfield since 1973, and this property in question was acquired by my father in 1976 and has been operated as a convenience store and a restaurant. Well, I took that operation over in 1989 after he had passed, and has been doing the same thing. The convenience store was rented, but I operate the restaurant. I'm at a point now where I think I've grown a bit, and I would like to extend my business into the store portion, just to have a sit-down facility, as well as the takeout side, which I now operate. So that is my request, to have a zone change from the Residence B to a Business A to accommodate that.
Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of this petition? Please step forward. State your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bishop Andrew Daubon, pastor of Celestial Praise at 321 Wilbraham Road, Springfield. I have been the pastor there for the last 8 years, and of course, Mr. Forbes' business has been one of the consistent businesses in the area. And considering the fact that he is growing, I believe having a sit-down section to the business would assist in even the expansion that he's trying to do. So as a neighbor, the church is a neighbor to his business. We are endorsing any such approval that the city council would consider. But I do believe this is in the best interest of our local community in that area of Springfield. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in favor? Please step forward. State your name and address for the record. If there's anyone who would like to speak in favor, please step forward. Seeing none. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition? Please step forward. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition? Please step forward. Any questions for the petitioner? Councilor Williams.
Mr. President, I just rise in support of this special permit application. You have been a good neighbor, especially in Ward 5, for a very long time. And I know that my uncle, Bud Williams, has spoken to you about this project as well. And you've done your due diligence and reassuring us that this is certainly good for the neighborhood. But without even having that reassurance, I think that because you have thrived in your space for so long, and you provide great food options for the community and the neighborhood, that certainly it's my belly showing, I think. I think that you, of course, deserve this opportunity to grow your business in the area. So I applaud you for your efforts, and I look forward to hopefully going there when it is expanded. Thank you.
Councilor Twiggs.
Mr. President, I express my support for Mr. Forbes in his effort to expand this bridge. He could not have had any greater supporter with the great bishop here, who's right across the street from him, and his wonderful congregation going into the Golden Crest. I might add, I'm often in the Golden Crest for a good meal myself. I'm particularly pleased with Mr. Forbes as he talked about expanding that operation. It is a wonderful idea to be able to sit down. Oftentimes I go in and I have a takeout, especially of them oxtail. Maybe we shouldn't talk menu here, but it is an excellent idea. It is one of the best restaurants in my district, and for him to expand upon that is a wonderful idea for the district And this is what we ought to be doing for good businessmen. He is an excellent businessman. His business is always clean. There's not a lot of people hanging around when they're over there to eat or to take food out to eat. And I would urge you to so wholeheartedly support this petition. Thank you.
Councilor Gomez.
In which way are you going to expand? Is the O'Geary family not going to be in Mommy's anymore?
Right. So I'm just going to expand inside, not
inside into the
outside.
next door. All right. All right. All right. Well, best of luck.
Thank you.
Councilor Edwards.
Establishment's expansion. I'm looking forward to the expansion. I'm a regular visitor to the restaurant. This is where I get my curry goat, and it's always excellent. And I actually was raised on Wellington Street, so we've known each other for more than a few decades, and the family's always been good neighbors. And the expansion of this business, this is well timed, and it's eager, and I'm happy to support it. And I would hope all my colleagues would agree as well. These are quality businessmen, have done really good job, and to have the support of the pastor, that's icing on the cake, so to speak. Thank you.
Any, Councilor Ryan.
Support this, but also to acknowledge your father started the business in 1976. Is that what you said?
Yes.
And Mr. Forbes, you've been running it since 1989. So he's almost 30 years. The business is over 40 years old. Not only should we support it, but also recognize and acknowledge the great work you've been doing up there now for decades. God bless you. Congratulations.
Any final questions for the petitioner? Before I close the public hearing, any final questions? Seeing none, I will now close the public hearing. Any final comments, motions, or amendments? Roll call. All in favor of invoking Rule 22C to take the matter up in one single vote, say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
In favor of amending the ordinance, Councilor Williams.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Twiggs. Yes. Councilor Shea, absent. Councilor Gomez. Yes. Councilor Walsh. Yes. Councilor Fenton.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Letterman.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Edwards. Yes. Councilor Ash, absent. Councilor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Ryan. Yes. Councilor Allen.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Ramos.
Yes, more than sufficient. Zone change is approved. Is there any further business before
Thank
the
you very
council?
much.
I have no further business.
All right, there's no further business. Councilors, just a quick reminder that we have three budget hearings scheduled for the 29th, June 6th, and June 7th. And then the final vote for the budget is tentatively scheduled for June 18th. All right, meeting adjourned.